I've been wanting to make this video since the start of my channel because there's just so much misinformation out there about hair loss. Does wearing a hat lead to baldness? Does sitting in an air-conditioned room cause hair loss? Will massaging the scalp reduce hair loss? Let's bust some myths. Wearing hats causes baldness. We've all had a parent tell us to take our hat off or else we're gonna lose our hair. The truth is that hats are often worn by people with hair loss to help cover it up. So there is a correlation between these two, but that does not mean that one causes the other. Top-down pressure on our hair follicles is usually not too problematic. Rather, a pulling motion, such as with a tight hairstyle, can lead to hair problems like traction alopecia. Two caveats here that could lead to hair loss to a small degree. For example, if hats are worn really tightly, which is fairly uncommon, or if a person is allergic to specific dyes that are in the hat that can actually lead to some degree of inflammation. But wearing hats does not generally cause baldness. Shaving your hair makes it grow back faster and thicker. Shaving your head will help remove damaged hair that has been affected by heat, styling, or coloring. But it does nothing to the underlying mechanism of hair growth at the regenerative plant of the hair, which is located at its base, at the root of the hair follicle. The brain of a hair strand is located about 4 to 7 millimeters below the skin surface. That is where the action happens. A shaved head will grow out the same way that it was before, not faster or thicker. Men and women can experience baldness. Yes, men and women do experience androgenic alopecia, aka male pattern hair loss or female pattern hair loss. The patterns do differ. For men, classically we think of the Norwood-Hamilton scale with frontotemporal recession and crown thinning, though there are many more clinical variants than described in this scale. For women, the classic androgenic pattern is classified by the Ludwig scale. The frontalmost hair is typically preserved, but there is central thinning and widening that occurs. Also, men and women can go bald from other causes of hair loss, such as autoimmune causes, alopecia areata, for example. So yes, men and women can experience baldness. Stress does not cause hair loss. It is normal to lose up to 100 hairs per day, but some people experience periods in their life when they might shed a lot more than that, and that's a condition called telogen effluvium. One example of what causes this is viral infections, but stress might also contribute. This type of loss is usually temporary, with most hairs returning eventually. People often develop telogen effluvium between 6 weeks and 3 months after a stressful event, such as a major surgery, a pregnancy, or a death in the family. But it can also develop in response to chronic everyday stress too, such as work or relationship stress. Stress can also make other hair conditions worse, such as alopecia areata, which is my autoimmune condition, or trichotillomania, which is an irresistible urge to pull out hair from the scalp, eyebrows, face, or body. That's because stress increases levels of cortisol in the body, and cortisol has been shown to disrupt hair growth. So stress can cause hair loss, but its effects are usually temporary. Using onion oil will cure my baldness. Onions are rich in sulfur and have some antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory properties that might in some way support hair health. Contrary to what you might have seen on TikTok though, onion oil will not cure your baldness, but a 2002 paper in the Journal of Dermatology did find that when tested on patchy alopecia areata, significant hair regrowth was seen with onion juice used twice a day versus tap water. Keep in mind that this was not tested on the most common type of hair loss, which is androgenic alopecia. So don't run off to the local grocery store just yet. But more research needs to be done to definitively say that onion oil can help with hair regrowth. You inherit hair loss from your mother. It's not that simple. Male pattern hair loss is polygenic, meaning more than one gene is involved in inheritance. At last count, we are up to 63 genetic loci that can influence hair loss. 6 are on the X chromosome, which may contribute to the anecdotal similarity in hair status observed between men and their maternal grandfathers. But the remainder of the loci are on non-sex chromosomes called autosomes. Add in epigenetics, which is how your behaviors and environment can change how your genes work, and hair loss inheritance becomes very sticky. So it's not completely true to say that you inherit hair loss from your mother. Men who are bald have more testosterone. A popular theory is that bald men have higher levels of testosterone, which makes them more masculine with higher sex drives. In 1960, a Yale doctor named James B. Hamilton studied 21 boys who were undergoing castration and did find that when there was no testosterone, there were no signs of male pattern loss as they aged. But we now know that people with even low levels of testosterone can still go bald. It's not the amount of testosterone circulating in our bloodstream that dictates baldness. It's all about the genetics. Genetics dictate how sensitive a person's hair follicles are to DHT and whether they're prone to hair loss. People can experience hair loss with lower levels of testosterone, but higher levels of 5-alpha reductase, the enzyme that converts testosterone to dihydrotestosterone. DHT levels of 5-alpha reductase, and how sensitive the hair follicles are to DHT are more influential than testosterone levels themselves. Subscribe to the channel with notifications on. Shampoo and conditioner is terrible for your hair. This one is experiencing a renaissance with the all-natural or no hair washing movement. No doubt that overwashing your hair may lead to dry hair textures, dandruff, and skin irritation. Often people see hair shedding in the shower. For people with long hair, it can be significant because of the tangles. So a false association can happen. You see hair in the shower, therefore something in the shower must be causing it. But the opposite can also be true. Not washing your hair can make the scalp less healthy, lead to clogged, inflamed, or ingrown hair follicles, or a bacterial or fungal overgrowth. The recommended frequency of hair washing is still debated, but most experts recommend washing every 2 to 3 days with shampoo and conditioner. Those with oily hair should be washing at a higher frequency than those with drier hair. Shampoo and conditioner is not all bad. We will soon be releasing our own thickening shampoo and thickening conditioner. Make sure to go to feelconfident.com and sign up for the latest updates. Losing as many as 100 hairs a day is normal. When you look down at the drain and see a clump of lost hair strands, it's easy to assume that there's a health problem causing hair loss. But some hair loss is normal for everyone and at every age. When you wash your hair thoroughly in the shower, hairs that are already loose or disconnected from your scalp congregate near the drain. Similarly, when you wake up, you might see hair on your pillowcase. Shedding up to 100 hairs per day is normal. And remember that we have about 100,000 hair follicles on our heads. Keep in mind that our hair is always cycling through various phases of growth, with about 90% of hair on our heads in the anagen or growth phase at any one time. Gel, wax, and other styling products do not cause hair loss. The wrong styling products, overstyling, or buildup can lead to breakage and clogged pores. Higher alcohol content and corrosive chemicals in some of these products can dry out our scalp, reduce sebum production, damage the hair shafts, and lead to irritated, flaky skin. Clogged hair follicles leads to folliculitis, and chronic folliculitis can in turn lead to hair loss, temporary or permanent. Here are some of the ingredients to avoid in your hair products. So there is a way that hair products may lead to hair loss. Sitting in an air-conditioned room causes hair loss. Some people online have postulated that air conditioning dries out the scalp, leading to irritation and hair fall. Most of these claims are made by sites that are pushing their own products to combat these ill effects of air conditioners. There is no data to support this claim. In fact, in 1990, a study found that scalp cooling could help prevent chemotherapy-induced alopecia. Being in an air-conditioned room does not seem to cause hair loss. Massaging the scalp can reduce hair loss. A 2016 study on 9 Japanese men found that hair thickness seemed to increase with 4 minutes of standardized scalp massage per day for 24 weeks using a scalp massage device. They showed that stretching forces result in changes in gene expression in human dermal papilla cells. Another study in 2019 on 327 survey participants looked at the effects of standardized scalp massages on self-assessed androgenic alopecia sufferers. Participants reported an average daily massage effort of 11 to 20 minutes, average adherence of 7 months, with almost 70% reporting hair loss stabilization or regrowth. While not a replacement for medical intervention, some preliminary research seems to suggest that scalp massaging might help reduce hair loss. Using minoxidil worsens hair loss. Minoxidil in its topical form can lead to early shedding. This is a temporary process that lasts about 3 to 6 weeks. Minoxidil shedding occurs when the hair follicles transition from the resting phase called telogen to the growing phase called anagen. The general recommendation is to keep applying the minoxidil despite the shedding. Oral minoxidil does not cause a shed as often as topical minoxidil. We have extensive videos on minoxidil and specifically oral minoxidil. Make sure to check those videos out for more information. All hair loss is permanent. As we have seen with telogen effluvium, all hair loss is not permanent. Even androgenic alopecia hair loss can be partially reversed at its earlier stages with various stimulating medical therapies such as minoxidil, platelet-rich plasma, microneedling, and low-level laser therapy. We have videos on each of these topics. Make sure to check those videos out to learn more. If you learned something new today, please make sure to like this video.